Okay, folks, it's me again. I want to go over the Creating a Museum, the Civil War. These directions will be posted today, Tuesday, the 1st of December, with the assignment. And I'm not going to read all of them with you, but I do want to give you an overview. I also want to show you what your room could look like because I have a template that works as an example for us as to what this is. So the overview is, I'll read along here. The Civil War served as a critical struggle that would redefine American history. The results are a very important part of us as Americans. Therefore, Americans are often interested in exploring this epic in our history. Museums and memorials commemorate this history. It can be found much of the eastern United States and are the destination for historical tourists from across the world. In this activity, you will research a battle or other important facet of the Civil War that might be featured in a museum exhibit. You will need to research and complete a note organizer on the topic that you choose from the list below. After you complete the note sheet, you're going to create a one-page room, or one room for our museum, and it will share your understanding of your assigned topic. We'll put our rooms together to create a large Civil War museum. We're going to use Google Slides. So essentially, we're going to create a whole museum with a couple of slides each will be devoted to each of our students who will be responsible for creating one of the exhibits in the museum. So that's what we're going to be doing. So you'll be graded on your the research. You'll be graded on your final product. Um, you have to have all of these pieces there. This product is based on you guys work alone. I'm allowing you folks to work with a group where you could kind of collaborate some and work on the same common topic, although you'll each be responsible for your own products that are part of that museum. So before we go any further, let's go and take a look at, I made a museum exhibit for the study of, um, we made one for Harriet Tubman. So if you walk into the Harriet Tubman Museum, each of you folks will have a doorway into the museum. So this template will be posted for Thursday when we make our museums. So you have the museum door, and it says "Welcome to the Harriet Tubman exhibit," and I put my name here. And this is the name of our museum right there, the Room 134 American Civil War Museum. That's what we're looking at. So, and as you go into the museum itself, well, I have to put in all the material here. So what you end up having to do is write down what was the connection to the Civil War, what was the significance and impact of your topic, who were the key people, places, and ideas involved in the topic, and what are some interesting facts that a museum goer would like to see. Your museum piece will also have an artifact. I have a picture of Harriet Tubman. Think about what a museum goer would like to see regarding your topic. I have a short caption at the bottom of it explaining the topic and connecting it to the piece. And then I cite where it came from. And that would be what you'd have to do. That's the exhibit itself. Then the last piece is a list of your sources. And we're going to take time on all of these things here. Day one, today, we'll be focusing on finding the sources. So I have a list of the sources on my topic. I just copied and pasted the URL. I'm not going to be fancy about formatting right now. It's just too much for us to continue to work with. So just copying and pasting the topic and the name of the web page and the URL. And then we evaluated each website. Was it reliable? Was it something we could look at? I'll talk about that in a few minutes. And so we have two websites. So that's what you're going to need to do. And so the plan is that all students are going to create different exhibits looking like that. I'm going to zip them all together, and I'm going to have you folks take a look at them, and we'll take a tour of the museum. So everything is listed here for day one, day two, and day three. Um, what we're looking at day one is what we're going to be doing today. You're going to need to locate and evaluate a minimum of two websites. So we're going to evaluate those. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Then tomorrow we're going to organize notes. I give you a note organizer as to what are the key questions you have to answer. And then on day three, you're going to take the information you've gotten from your research and plug it into the exhibit. I gave you the entry slide, the exhibit slide, and the sources slide. You'll just overtype what I have to create your own exhibit. and then we're going to explore the museum on Monday, December 7th. Okay, so moving ahead, what we have to do today is this. I want to focus a lot on this because this is what we're doing today. Basically, today our primary purpose is to present historical research to this particular topic. We need it to be engaging. Research could be gathered from a variety of sources. And in this museum research, you are tasked with finding relevant, engaging, and reliable information, meaning relevant to your topic, engaging. It needs to be interesting to your audience, and it should be reliable. So that's the thing we're looking at too, is we don't just take anything from the internet. We live in an age where information is readily available through the internet. The internet, however, has no accountability for being correct. That is why researchers like you must consider the accountability and expertise as well as the relevance of the information that they locate on the internet source. So we need to consider more than just what the source tells us. We need to consider who the source is as well as their background, accountability, and expertise. So we've discussed how this is significant with politics. You know, how that information and rumors go on the internet, people buy into them without considering, is anybody accountable for this information? The same is true with history. So here's our directions. This is what we need to do today, so please make sure you get this. So you know the big picture, we're creating an exhibit. Today's goal is to get information so we know what we're going to be putting, so we know it's reliable. So you complete a Google search on your topic, and that'll be fine. You could also look at AmericanHeritage.com, which is a really good site, and we know that that's more reliable because it's accountable to the American Heritage Society, which is a reputable publisher of historical information. It's pretty easy to use. We also find that using the Civil War Trust as a source, if you put that in there along with your topic, I found a lot of videos from the Civil War Trust, so I found them to be pretty reliable. So if a source seems to have ample information, if you find a source on the website, now you have to evaluate it. You want to make sure that somebody is accountable, that there's somewhere along the line somebody's name is on it, somebody who's credible, who doesn't want to have egg on their face. We talk about major news networks, for example. They don't want to give false news because eventually, if they're found to be not telling the truth, it hurts their reputation and they could be sued. So that's why we want to avoid open source information. Now, Wikipedia is always convenient, usually the first thing you find in a web search. But Wikipedia is open source, meaning anybody, regardless of credentials or truth, can edit a Wikipedia page. So we don't want to go to Wikipedia because it's not always reliable. So what you want to do is you want to decide, is the source I find on the internet reliable? So once you find that a source is good, look up on the About or About Us link on the page. It might be on the top or the bottom, and find out who are these people who put things on the web. Sites that go on the web are created by people, either individuals or organizations. Do we know something about them? Can we trust them? Um, so basically, Google, if you want to, Google the organization. If you can't find out much from the web page, Google the organization that takes responsibility for the web page and find out who they are. What's their mission? You need to find out who the publisher is to determine if it's trustworthy. Now, if you can't do that, then go to another source. You know, like if you don't just take a sandwich from a stranger. You don't know what's in it. Does he like you? Does he hate you? Is he crazy, or is he just mean, or is he just a good guy? You don't know. You don't want to digest something unless you know about the source where it comes from. So that's same thing is true with information. You want to make sure that you base your research on a source that's reliable. So you need to find two sources today. Um, you don't need to get too focused. You see, there's not a tremendous amount of historical details we need in this research. It's not like a research paper. We're just kind of getting our feet wet into some research in this museum. So all we need is two sources. So take a look at the organizer. I did one for Harriet Tubman. This is an example I did for you. So in this line here, you put the URL or the name of the source right here. And then what's in the source, generally speaking, is it relevant? Obviously, if it's not, don't put it there. Is there any artifacts you're going to want to use that you're going to copy and put into your web page or into your museum? Put it right here. And then finally, the last piece is I want to know who published the source. Can you trust them? So you can't just simply put something on because it has interesting information. We have to decide Who are these people? Who is the organization, or who is the person who put it together? So when I looked at this source, I saw it came from the National Museum of the National Women's History Museum. It's a museum that I read their mission statement to inspire women with the role women have played in American history. And I found that the editor who is listed on this page is a professor of history at Merrimack College. So it wasn't very hard to find that out. So finding the credentials of the organization or any people who take responsibility for writing that, that's what we have to do today. And what we're going to do with this is tomorrow we'll go to those sources and we're going to open those sources up and then begin to extract information only after we know the source is credible. So today's goal is, once you get the two sources listed here, and you could generally say what's in the source you're going to use, and is the source, how is the source considered reliable? If you want to add more, you could just put more spaces at the bottom of this and add a third source if you would like. But the idea is we want to make sure we look at credible sources. Okay, folks, that's all we have for this. Let's see if I know how to stop this.